little bit more light. Maybe if I put this on, will it look good? Welcome to another episode of Sydney Adventure Mans. Today we are talking about the on-roads and the off-roads. Shut up! 10 tips for driving on-road, 10 trips for driving off-road. Now it is currently 6 a.m. Actually, let me check that. Yeah, it is. Heading down to meet up with Roberto and Long John. We're going to get some paninis before we hit the road. Paninis aren't one of the tips, but it is highly recommended before you hit any off-road that you purchase a panini. Preferably a good panini. And you will definitely need a good mochaccino. I will be getting a good mochaccino. Coffee, mochaccino, as long as it's good. Before we begin the tips, let's give some recommendations. Leave early. Enjoy the earliness, watch the sun rise, and enjoy no traffic on the road. That's same if you're coming back. Leave later after all the traffic's gone. Enjoy the drive. Get home relaxed. That's a recommendation. And the other recommendation is do all your vehicle checks before you go. So for instance, my air compressor wasn't working because there was a problem with the fuse. So I changed the fuse 2 days ago. And now it works. Unless it fucks up when I'm off-road, well, that will be the test. Especially older vehicles. As I'm driving the old 23-year-old Land Cruiser here, with a lot of aftermarket parts, there is common issues that I know about, and they do need to be checked. Some problems can be fixed, others can maybe be fixed, but still trying to work out the best way of doing it. The worst problems are the electricals, in my opinion. Absolute nightmare. Electrical, there's always something wrong with the electricals. And another recommendation, just do the speed limit. Just don't need to rush, especially when you're big rig. Enjoy the drive. Don't speed, and always be on the lookout for cappuccinos. The policemen's. Revenue raising, especially with the Sydney, New South Wales governments. You want to be in a position where you get pulled over and you go to the cop, fuck you, what did I do wrong, cunt? And they go, well, nothing, we're just doing a check. And you go, fuck you, cunt, and you drive off. Because unless they got you for something, fuck them. Now, a recommendation for off-roadness would probably be don't go alone. If you go alone, be very cautious. If you've got winch and diff locks and all this shit, it's good. If you don't like me, then you need to be a little bit more cautious. But if you can, the recommendation is to go with friends that have rigs. Go with people that are experienced, not like first timers. It's nice not to be the most experienced four-wheel driver when you go out. Sure, you know, if you're most experienced, you feel bigger than everyone else because you're the smartest person there when it comes to the off-road. But it's nice and comforting to have people that you can learn from and people that you can count on when your brains don't know how to get out of a situation. Fortunate for myself, today I'm heading up with Roberto and Long John. Roberto's the man that got me into off-roadness. I wouldn't say he knows more than me. He used to know more than me. I'd say we're probably about 50-50. However, there are things that I know that he doesn't, and he knows that I don't. And there are things that he's good at that I'm not, and I'm good at that he's not. So it comes hand in hands. And I would definitely say that Roberto's confidence going off-road is a lot higher than me. I'm afraid of slipping, whereas Roberto, he's actually afraid of driving on sand. You know, pros and cons with everyone. And Long John, well, he's our mechanic if the cars break. He's our roadside assistist. Yeah. I guess John knows a little bit of off-road as well. Look, we're all into it. There's plenty of videos that we learn to watch. The learning is never ending. If you think you know everything and you stop learning, you might as well just get a bullet in the head. It's good to have people that you can learn with together. Every off-road adventure, I could say on-road adventure, but you might learn something maybe because, I don't know, you're driving on the road all the time. Like, you might pick up something, maybe on a route, maybe on a driving technique, I doubt it. But off-road, you'll definitely learn something every time you hit the off-roadness. Unless you've done it a gazillion times, then maybe not. But we've only been off-road, I think, less than 100 times. Which doesn't sound like much for Sydney Adventure Man, but you've got to remember, I've only been doing this for under 5 years. To be going off-road for under 100 times, and I might be wrong, it may be more than that. I mean, 100 times is like 20 times a year. Yeah, I would say that's about right, 20 times a year, because I'm always busy. So yeah, 20 times a year to go off-road, that would be a good number, a really good number. That would be a good year. 20 times a year is like once every 2 weeks, and Sydney Adventureman doesn't do that. But I'm countering going off-road camping and then the next day off-road again, because you might go on-road and then off-road. And like our Victorian high country trip, every movement was an off-road, on-road, off-road movement. So within 2 weeks we went off-road almost every day, at least 15 times, just in that one trip of 2 weeks. Technically this year I've probably been off the road maybe 30 times, which is a bit more than average, but it makes up for the other years. Another recommendation, find the time to go on a trip, even if it's just a drive somewhere. Even if you're doing some light forward driving, even if you're not doing any forward driving at all, find the time to go out there. Utilize your vehicle, utilize your skills. Don't let them just sit there. Don't be a workaholic like Sydney Adventure Man. At the end of the day, it still doesn't pay the bills, or maybe it does, I don't know. Get out there, enjoy the great outdoors. That's why we do this. Personally, if I wasn't into forward driving and camping and everything like that, I'd probably have a hot rod and do like burnouts and stuff like that. Sydney Adventure Man used to be a bit of a rev head back in the days, and that was my first passion, rev headness. But that wasn't until I found my true calling of passionateness about overlanding, which, you know, I was always into road trips and adventures like that. But when your car can go off-road, it's so much more capable and really surprising. And then when you can take all your stuff and go camping, off-roadness, campings, that's even more better. As you know, a lot of people will build cars, street machines, they sound good, they go fast, they're very shiny, but that's all it is. You know, with a four-wheel drive, you've got the opportunity to do a lot of your own modifications and builds. In my opinion, four-wheel drives have a lot more equipment than any street machine. You know, when you look at the amount of bars, bull bars, side steps, rear bars, bar work, roll cages, roof racks, and rear bars, electricals, air compressors, winches, temperature gauges, alert sensors, cameras, light bars, GPS configuration maps, radios, UHFs. There's so much you can put into a four-wheel drive, and that's why my four-wheel drive weighs 3.5 ton. A little bit over GVM, just a little bit. So much more you can do with a four-wheel drive. You know, you've got to carry everything so things don't break. Everything's going to be accessible. Emergency items, recovery items, food, water, leisurable things like cigars and whatnots, your gadgets, charging devices. I've got a bed right here that I built. I've got the 11 cup holders that I built. They come in very handy. That's just to give you a little bit of feedbacks on the recommendations, and we're almost ready to see Roberto and Long John. Ooh, and there is the paninis. And let me guess, Roberto's got the
You're a dick.
And what's Long John got? A panini as well?
Yeah, how'd you guess?
I don't know. It looks like a panini.
Rare.
Let's enjoy our paninis, and then we can hit the on-roads. Here's some footage of the bucket mochaccino in the cup holder. Look at that. That's a boucher.
Oh, who's going first?
I can go first.
Get that bold-headed eagle to go first. Matt, do 100 at least.
This is a fucking 80 zone. They're doing roadworks.
John, you have to go 80 and an 80. Put your foot through the floor. Better yet, get out and push.
Alright, now for 10 tips for the on-roads. Tip number 1, I would say comfort. Wouldn't you agree, Roberto?
Yes, lumbar support is most crucial.
Lumbar support? Yeah, lumbar support for the back.
Well, not for the front.
Got your heater, your aircon, your cigars, the music, anything that makes you comfortable.
Even at the back,
Cup holders add to the comfort.
And also, about 6 to 8 cup holders.
11 in my case. Talking about cup holders, it brings me to tip number 2. Cup holders and drinks. Okay, so what I'm going to say with that is you need plenty of cup holders to hold your drinks, because when you're off-road you need to drink. Sorry, on-road or off-road. So you got coffee, orange juice, water, Coke, Slurpees, etc. Then you got your passengers' drinks as well. Tip number 3 for the on-roads would be two-way radios and communications.
I think that's one of the most important points. If you haven't got clear communication, you're buggers.
The person in front can radio through if there's police ahead.
That's the Lebo way. Yeah.
Yalla, there's couples like 10-9.
I'm more high, I see some lights, bro.
So tip number 4 is, in my opinion, aircon and heater.
Yeah, I can see the importance of that.
Alright, tip number 5, I'm going to say music. Spending hours and hours upon driving, and music is nice to listen to, relaxing and everything else. Alright, tip number 6 is GPS and navigations. Access to find out, what's around. You might be looking for a server or a McDonald's or, bloody Asian restaurant, and you may need to reroute your route for any reason as well. And the GPSs usually tell you if there's a lot of traffic or traffic incidences as well, so you can avoid them. Alright, tip number 7, I'm going to say rear view vision. So that's your mirrors, could be your inside mirror, your side mirrors, additional mirrors, and rear view camera. Tip number 8, a planned route and an informed route. So you want to inform your team, and you want to have it planned so you know where you're going to be, when you're going to be, time limits, routes, etc.
Nat, where are we going?
What do you mean?
It was a joke.
Okay, that was a joke. Okay. Tip number 9 for the on-roads is patience and tolerance.
Something that you do not have.
But however, I do. When I'm driving the 80, I like to take time out just to observe other drivers and make sure I keep out of the way.
If you haven't got the patience in that, either you're going to have an accident, someone's going to thump you.
Yeah, because traffic can be quite stressful, especially when you're driving hours on the road. On the highway, every bastard wants to fucking, you're doing the speed limit. I was doing a little bit above the speed limit. And even then, they want to jump right in front of you. And then because there's a car in front of you, they slam their fucking brakes on.
Calm down, Nat. Goes back to that point. Patience. And you gotta relax. You gotta take a deep breath.
I agree, but however, when you're driving a Land Cruiser, they're that comfortable.
Quite the fact, actually. Quite the fact. True. Too true.
It is
Too
true.
true.
It is true. Number 10, I would say, is enjoyment is the tip. So you want to enjoy. We're going out to enjoy the road, enjoy the trip, enjoy the conversations, enjoy the weather.
I agree.
Well, that's the 10 tips for on-road, and very shortly we're going to show you the 10 tips for off-road.
And I agree with Sydney Adventure Man.
I concur with ye.
So I'll say his words, I concur.
Hey, look, we've got a couple of fans. Say hello to Sydney Adventure Man. Hey. We'll see you on the tracks.
Take a look at me, I'm yesterday's hero. Yesterday's hero. That's all I'll be. Take a look at me, I'm yesterday's